e-invoice is not only issuing invoice, right? It's not issuing invoice, it's receiving invoice also. Your team must be ensure that this is a valid e-invoice.
I see. And like, how do they identify, like, let's say from a restaurant, the meals and entertainment receipt, right? How do they identify the normal receipt and the e-invoice receipt?
The key one, there's a code that IRB will validate and put a code, then we actually can scan and see. Code on the
okay.
e-invoice.
Welcome to the iSearch podcast. Today we have Richard William, the managing partner of RW William accounting firm, back on the show. So today we will be discussing with Richard on e-invoicing in Malaysia and how businesses can prepare for it. So welcome to the podcast, Richard.
Thanks, Benjamin. Nice to be back after 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a very good time to have you back on, since e-invoicing has been like a very hot topic among all the business owners currently. So what is could you share with us, like, what is e-invoicing and how is it different, like, from the current invoicing structure?
Yeah. So currently, almost all businesses, they produce invoice, they're using Excel worksheet or computer software, UBS, SQL. Those are standard formats, and then they are sent to the customers and not using PDF format, right? These are not
PDF,
not data encrypted. So this is the current practice. So the new e-invoice era, this invoice will be under sophisticated computer software and encrypted. Some they use a JSON, computer language that we normal people cannot understand. So how it works like is actually this e-invoice is linked to the Inland Revenue Department. So every business that you do produce the invoice, it must go through to the IRB system. IRB tax portal, whereby all the information will be validated by the Inland Revenue. Before the Inland Revenue validate this, we must key in all the system. So it means I want to issue invoice to your company. So all your company information, the tax number, the SST number, all the relevant must be keyed in into the system. Then the Inland Revenue will validate. Then instantly, the Inland Revenue will send back this e-invoice to you. They say it's within 2 or 3 seconds, together with a code. So the main difference will be the current invoice and the e-invoice. There will be a code of validation by the Inland Revenue. This code, the customer, anybody can scan. That means this is a genuine invoice. That is the key differences of the e-invoice.
Okay. Well, so what I hear is that you cannot, like, create your own invoicing anymore. Means you cannot use PDF and send to your client anymore. So let's say, assuming today I run like a let's say accounting firm business, and typically I just send like invoice to client via PDF format. So with these changes, I need to have a software that can somehow link to the IRB, and then
Yes,
they will issue the invoice, which I then only can send to my client.
yes. So as I said now, this software, many software in the market, they're already telling the e-invoice ready. But actually, the IRB has not opened the portal yet. Now IRB open portal for companies that are using, big companies, they use customized software. IRB has opened a portal for them to testing. Off-the-shelf invoices, off-the-shelf computer software like SQL, UBS, AutoCount, and all, they have the system ready, but it's not linked to the Inland Revenue yet.
Oh, okay. So the accounting software needs to be linked to the Inland Revenue Board once
Yeah,
this implementation is ready. I see, I
yes.
see. Okay. Looks like it's going to be very tough work ahead.
Yeah, something
So,
very, very
like,
technical.
exactly. So, like, I mean, of course, Malaysian, we always do things like very last minute lah. So, the next question will be an important one, which is, what is the e-invoicing timeline like? And also, is it mandatory, like, for all businesses, whether you're big, small, or large, to use this e-invoicing?
Okay. The timeline IRB has put into 3 phases. Company
Okay.
with revenue more than 100 million, timeline is actually 1st August 2024. Must start the e-invoice. Company with revenue more than 25 million, 1st January 2025. Company with revenue below 25 million, 1st July 2025. So what where you base this revenue. This revenue is based on the company's financial year 2022. Big companies have already started just about another, I think, mid-May, June, July, 2.5 months they have to do it. Others will follow suit. So the other thing that you're asking, who is involved with e-invoice? I'm afraid to say the current regulation says every business, trust body, enterprise, partnership, pendirian berhad, LLP, society, NGO, every entity compulsory to be in the system according to the timeline stated just now. There are exemptions for not involved with this, are generally the royalties, government and statutory bodies, and people who are not doing business. These are the ones like government statutory bodies like MPPJ, DBKL, DKR, they don't have. But if we deal with them, businesses must issue to them. So to us, we must issue. So this is the challenge we're going to face. People won't ask the Makcik Nasi Lemak out there. He have to issue e-invoice. The current regulation says yes. So how the mechanism and all, issue e-invoice, IRB gives a concession of certain industry like restaurant, this type of people, they can issue the e-invoice on a monthly basis. That means, let's say your January invoice, total of your January invoice, you submit to IRB the e-invoice on the 7th of February. So you have time to submit. But every other business, like your business, my business, it must be instant. Just how I was mentioning, they must key in, directly link to IRB, and the e-invoice the validated.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Just to recap. So 100 million revenue, you have to implement it by 1st August 2024. 25 million revenue and above, you have to implement by 1st Jan 2025. And if you are below 25 million, which is all the businesses, you have to implement it by 1st July 2025.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So that begs the question, like let's say if it's for B2B, let's say we have of course we'll have lesser clients as compared to say the B2C market, which is like let's say the restaurant or the e-commerce business. So for all this type of B2C, do they need to like issue the invoice each transaction, this e-invoice?
Yes. So that regulation also said every business you must issue except those the consolidated. So B2C, let's say we say it's a restaurant. So the restaurant don't have to issue the e-invoice to the customer. You do consolidated the following month, 7, you submit. However, when customers, sometimes okay, go to the restaurant, we bring our staff for dinner. Bill, let's say it's 1,000 ringgit. I want to claim that one, I got the right to request e-invoice. So in that instance, that restaurant must give me e-invoice. So this the complication comes for those type of industries. So they must be able, software must be able to cater those people who request for the e-invoice on the spot. Because I go there, I'm a businessman, I spend 1,000, I want to claim these expenses in my company. That is another one more link, later part I share why this e-invoice is very important to me as a customer.
Okay. Wow, I mean, all this information is a bit very heavy to
very
take in.
heavy to digest. Maybe I can explain the part now also. So it means that you see now this August 1st, the companies with 100 million revenue, compulsory for them to issue e-invoice. Others, no. Right? So people like me, we are not 100 million. We will fall into July next year.
Okay.
So I would issue normal invoice. August, September this year, I issue normal, not an e-invoice. So the rule of the second part of the expenses validity comes in July 2025. That means when it comes to July 2025, if you receive an invoice, if this is not e-invoice, you cannot claim as an expense in your books. So I provide you accounting services. I say, okay, I don't comply with e-invoice regulation. Then you accept. Then I give you a normal invoice. Then in your accounts year end, you put as an expenses accounting fee. If the Inland Revenue do your audit, they see you don't have e-invoice from Richard William, it's not approved as an expense. So this can be huge impact on industry in Malaysia. And just now I was saying the restaurant one, why I want the e-invoice from the restaurant, because come in July 2025, I'll book this as staff entertainment in my house. And then I need to allowable expenses. So the e-invoice must be there. So e-invoice is not only issuing invoice, right? It's not issuing invoice, it's receiving invoice also. Your team must be ensure that this is a valid e-invoice. Code is there.
I see. And like, how do they identify, like, let's say from a restaurant, the meals and entertainment receipt, right? How do they identify the normal receipt and the e-invoice receipt?
The key one, there's a code that IRB will validate and put a code, then we actually can scan and see. Code on the
Okay.
e-invoice. I think now that they have for petrol, Shell has already started. Code is already there, but when you scan, it's not that link anywhere. That's why I said I think the 100 the big giants have already started put this code and all. And already this
Because
should link with the inland revenue.
right, because their deadline is coming very soon, which is August.
Yeah,
It's only like 2 to 3
yeah,
months left.
yeah.
Okay, got it. So like, but what is like the the whole purpose of e-invoicing?
So generally, I would say two sides. Two sides. One for the consumer, one for the businessman, one for the government. For the government, want to include this because in Malaysia there's a lot of leakages, a lot of shadow economy. Right? I think it's proven in the world Malaysia top 10 or what all the shadow economy. They don't issue invoices, everything go under table, under the counter. So they want to stop all this. So I also will be afraid because the government has implemented the e-invoice. So later, the other way around, if you want to give me services, you say, yeah, Richard, no need invoice lah. Or I don't do e-invoice. I don't want to take because I cannot claim as an expense. So once every business get used to it, everybody will ensure they get e-invoice from every party. So the big idea of the government is to the leakages through the shadow economy. And then they will actually increase the tax collection when everybody comply. So I think there are a lot of SME industries currently, they open enterprise, but they don't declare their income tax and all. Right? So this is to cover increase government revenue. On the businessman side, I would think there is a benefit also because I'm in the industry now. You said 21 years RW. So we have seen a lot of businessmen, they don't do their accounts properly, right? If companies who do not do their accounts properly, actually you cannot monitor your progress. The accounts is the key point. How much profit you are making, what are you doing? Are we moving the right direction? So once the government implement this, businesses should take the initiative, follow. Then you can actually monitor. You will do your accounts more proper. You can get better, see your performance. So it's a benefit for both sides. And then digitalization. So every industry will be digitalized. All the invoices, everything will be digitalized compared to now. That is the benefit and the reason the government actually initiating this e-invoice.
Okay. I guess the biggest motivating factors, of course, to collect more taxes, like, because like what you said, like probably
Yes,
there's a lot of people where they just maybe they just collect the cash and then they didn't record it in their accounting books, and
yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay,
Another
right,
aspect of this, the e-invoice important to share is actually e-invoice also applicable for your imports. If you get services from overseas, let's say you outsource your IT services to Singapore, they will give you normal invoice, right? They are not in our tax system, but then it's required you to do a self-bill invoice. That means you do the invoice in your software be able to create a self-bill invoice for that service provider. So then your imported invoices all will be monitored by the inland revenue. But there's a lot of shadow economy there. A lot of imported invoices can be fake, not correct. So this time you do it self-bill. And very, very important for businesses to know.
right. I think for Malaysians, most business owners will spend either on Google ads, Facebook ads, or TikTok ads,
Yeah,
which is overseas company. So when they issue the invoice, they are not issuing the e-invoice style of the IRB,
yeah.
right? So how do we like consolidate this?
So Google, Facebook, well, they will not give e-invoice to us. So if we get a normal invoice, we have to, our software must be able to cater, we issue the self-bill invoice. That means we do the invoice on behalf of Google. So there's a
Oh,
format.
okay.
So it will be more work for the businessman.
Okay. More work for the businessman, more revenue for the accounting firm like you, lah, right?
It depends also. It can be a lot of strain. We need proper manpower also. Actually,
Makes
down the
sense.
road, go down and do the clients ask us to
Okay.
do invoicing for them. Clients will definitely want invoicing on the timely basis. We cannot just don't have proper manpower. It's difficult to do.
Yeah, like what you say, lah, the need to send to IRB and then IRB will reply you within a couple
Yeah,
of seconds. But that time of you need to imagine you do for so many clients, it's like really takes up
yeah,
your staff time
yeah,
also.
yes.
Okay.
So sometimes you may have client, hey, tomorrow early morning I want the invoice because my customer want to pay. And for them, that's very important. So then they need to have staff standby to do it. We cannot say I do give you at the end of the day. Invoicing very important for any business.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, for the below 25 million revenue is still about a year plus away. Do you
Yeah.
see that the government will do some exemption? Let's say business that has below, I don't know, 1 million or 2 million revenue, they are exempted from all this e-invoice thing.
Actually, a lot of organizations, business organizations are appealing to the government to have a threshold. Last time GST, I think threshold was 500,000 revenue below. You don't have to. SST now you have a threshold of 500,000. But in my opinion, if the government give a threshold, let's say 500,000, then this 500,000 and below don't issue the invoice. Then the second part, just like I was saying, the proof of expenses, very difficult to monitor. So how does, then I will buy from somebody below 500,000. How does Inland Revenue monitor that he's below 500,000, he don't have the validated e-invoice? We'll come back to the old shadow economy things. It's difficult to monitor. So my
Yeah.
opinion is not that I'm supporting the LHDN initiative, but it's logical. Everybody must be involved in this system of e-invoice. But however, Malaysia, we understand sometimes for political reason, things may change. The next budget, next budget will be in
Yeah.
October, early October. So we wait for the early October. If there are any changes for the e-invoice. For industries, you got someone who are going to start in August. You can see how they're going to start, what the pitfall will be. So if there are changes, will come in August. Sorry, not August, October. The budget will be in October.
But by then, the big companies they already implemented it for a couple of months already, lah. So at least we get some
Yeah,
idea, lah.
yes. Some idea on that.
Okay.
E-invoice issuing, self-bill invoice.
Okay. So all this is like there's a lot of steps to get started. So how can like businesses get started to implement this e-invoicing, and do they need like a software, and if they do need a software, what type of software can they use to integrate with the LHDN?
Currently, two types of integration. One integration is for the big companies. Big companies, they have their own customized software. Sometimes they use SAP or Nova or anything. So these customized software providers are in the process of doing. Inland Revenue has come out something called SDK, Software Development Kit. So they are taking the software development kit and now doing the implementation process for the big giants. For other companies, you have two options. You can use either the off-the-shelf software, like just I'm telling you, UPS, SQL, uh, all this off-the-shelf software, but the businessman must ensure these software providers are ready. Right? They must go for the demo or this thing. But the thing is not out from IIB. The software provider are saying they are ready, but you need to check. The other alternative for smaller businesses, IIB going to come out My Invoice Portal. That means they can go direct into the IIB website, key in the invoice information detail, and so you don't need a software. It's like My
Oh,
Invoice
okay.
Portal is like similar like your personal tax, you got your tax portal, right?
Hmm.
Anyway, today is the last day for submitting personal tax. Borang BE.
Yeah.
Yours under
Yeah.
Borang BE
15 May, right? I think mine's B, so
business.
it's still got time. Yeah.
So under your own portal, you can go in, you can check your tax status, you can key in this, you can key in that. So similar to that, they're going to open my invoice portal, you go directly in. However, the disadvantage of that, that is not on yet. IRB has not opened that portal. But the disadvantage of that portal, you have to duplicate your work because that portal is not an accounting portal. It's just to issue your invoice. Right? And then later you still need to do your accounts. That's why we professionals, we strongly advise clients to use accounting software. Whichever software they can use, go use accounting software which can integrate this together.
Right. To
Small
avoid double work.
to avoid double work, you have to do twice. So they must start already
Okay.
to go look into that. Those who are doing manual, even though it's July, like earlier we were saying, Malaysian culture is everything last minute.
Yeah.
Don't wait until July 2025. I would reckon earliest, latest, you should start after the budget already. Now you
Oh,
smaller
October
business.
itself, you should start already, lah. Like
Yeah, then you see any
to
changes.
implement.
Then it's smaller because Malaysia generally SME are the biggest business people. Percentage 80% are SME. You have time, see how the giants implement that and see any changes in the budget. No changes, October, you start. Because you need to get information as well. Remember earlier I was saying, this e-invoice, you need to get information of your customers. Now you give me invoice, you don't ask me my tax number, right? You don't ask me my SST number and various other
Yeah.
information. You don't ask me, you don't need to. In the new era, SME, a lot of customers, you need to inform your customer, especially B2B, get information from the customer, your tax reference number, your SST number, whatever information required. Whatever information required is inside the IRB website e-invoice portal. They actually have the information required for the e-invoice. Get ready all these things first. And don't, last minute you won't rush. And you need to aware so what other information B2C. If the B2C wants an invoice, you go to a jewelry shop, they are not allowed to issue a consolidated lump sum. They must give individual invoice. So they want your TIN number, your personal tax reference number. So they must be aware and start this checklist and educate all the, I said again, B2C, you won't be an accountant sitting down at the counter, your salesperson. As first, salesperson also need to know what information you need from your consumer. It's below 18 years old, no TIN number. TIN number is tax reference number. You need your IC number. All those things to prepare now. Awareness should be there in a businessman. It's not only to accountants, but actually top to bottom, from the directors down all the way the clerks. Everybody needs to be aware.
Mm. Okay. Just curious, who's the one that actually proposed this e-invoicing implementation?
Who started? must
Yeah,
be
who started? Who
must be
started this idea?
Ministry of Finance,
Must
MOF.
Ministry of Finance. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say actually it should be a good step for the Malaysian economy. A good step to eliminate shadow economy. That's the main thing. Like now I also see a lot of people, let's say agents, there are a lot of agents outside there. They get commission, they get this, no invoice, right? They don't issue invoice, so they don't declare this income. A lot of them. So now with this e-invoice, your company give commission to a third party, you must issue e-invoice, self-bill e-invoice on behalf of the agent. So you will go to the system and key in, you paid Mr. William 10,000 commission, this is his tax reference number, all the information is called self-bill. So it automatically goes.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of agent, right? Just like you mentioned, let's say agent, let's say a property agent or insurance agent, those are
Yes,
like individual agents, right? So
yes.
does it mean that they need to issue their own e-invoice as well?
The e-invoice will be issued by the insurance company. So let's say you are agent of Great Eastern. So Great Eastern, the company issue the e-invoice into in the
Okay.
system. So you cannot run away already. Currently,
Mm.
end of the year, Great Eastern will do something called 658. CP58 is a summary of your total commission you receive during the year. You're supposed to take that CP58, you declare voluntarily. But many people not declaring. So now that's why now they put invoice into Great Eastern. You keep in self-bill e-invoice on behalf of the agent. And it's direct.
Because for yeah, I mean, of course, for agents, previously easier to avoid like if they want to like with this
Yes.
e-invoicing, there's no way they can avoid it.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, in terms of business, let's say if they want to get started and they don't want to use like the IRB portal, they want to use their own accounting software so that they can avoid double work. Like, what is like a rough estimate of the cost that they need to incur for this?
Average for an SME to get an accounting software, I would say about average 3,000 ringgit, 3,000 ringgit. And that one now under the government initiative also, they are giving a grant up to 5,000. So the software provider knows how to apply. So up to 5,000 thing grant. So use the software, if it's, let's say it's 5,000 software, government will give you 2,500. So 50%.
And the software, right? And anyone can apply, any business owner can apply for this
Yes,
grant.
any business can apply. Must go to generally going to the software provider because they want to see the invoices and all these things.
Okay. And the 3,000, is it like a one-off or is it like a yearly that you have to pay to the software
Most
provider?
software provider nowadays, they will actually charge a yearly maintenance fee. I see the maintenance fee, so I see average, I think between 10 to 20% of the initial cost.
Okay, so maybe about 300 per year after the initial 3,000.
The people also the businesses can consider a lot of software provider now going into cloud accounting. Cloud accounting, they don't need to save anything in your server, in your desktop, they don't need to serve. All this data will be served in the cloud. So cloud accounting, it ranges from, I have seen from 30 ringgit per month, 300 per month, you pay to the software provider. So it's on a monthly basis. They can compare. That's why I say it's different. Some businesses, they want to use payroll software. They want to use inventory module, different module. They want to integrate the accounting. It'll be more expensive.
Okay, got it. So yeah, I guess that's a lot of information on e-invoicing.
Yes.
So before we end, do you have any final advice for business owners on e-invoicing?
Yeah, my advice would be start early. Right? Don't wait until July next year. Don't wait until June next year. Start early, talk to your tax agent, talk to your software provider, get the information. But also start early. I also would not go encourage them tomorrow you buy the software. Because software also, they are also in the process of complying everything. Income tax has not come out with the final module of the linkage. So don't go buy now. Go and look, compare whichever software to get ready. And this readiness must be from top to bottom. Because the penalty indicated in the IRB website and all is between 200 to 20,000 penalty. Depends on number of offenses, first offender, second offender. So this minimum 200 penalty is actually on per e-invoice, per mistake. So let's say when maybe they give some leeway, July until December, they let maybe 2026, they go and check your documents and all, you got maybe 20 e-invoices, which is wrong. So the 20 times 200, so it'll be 4,000. So if per, then second offense, it can go to 2,000, 3,000. So the penalties can be very, very significantly high for this
I
e-invoice.
think they'll probably collect more penalties than taxes through this implementation.
Because it seems easy, but you need to follow. They need to go consult. Everybody should they have the tax agent and now go consult them, get information, advice, and start to read. The IRB website on e-invoice is actually very updated. The information is all there. It's in Bahasa Malaysia and English. So that would be my advice for the business.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Richard, for coming onto the show. Check out RW William down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Okay.